6:33, I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Do you want to say that it was posted? You posted it.
And I did post the notice on Monday.
You want me to read that?
Yes, I'm going to have Colleen read the minutes.
Okay. The Pebble Springs Condominium Association minutes for the Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, July 18th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. The meeting was called to order by Sharon Villers at 6:37 p.m. at the Pebble Springs Clubhouse. The board members present were Director Cluster 1, Carol Bloodsworth, Vice President, Director Cluster 3, Terry Lanning, Director Cluster 4, Sharon Villers, President, Director Cluster 5, Nancy McFadden, Director Cluster 6, Edna Paul, Secretary, Director at Large, Nassad. Say your last name for me.
It's okay, so sorry.
And then Colleen Fletcher of CNS Management also attended. Director Cluster 2, Kathy Jo Geen, Treasurer, called into the meeting. Absent members, none. The board minutes for the June 20th, 2019 were read by the President, Sharon Villers. The minutes were approved as read by the board. Old business, Easy Joe Landscaping. A letter was sent to the owner. As of date, no response from him has been received. Terry Lanning had met with Joe and some of her problem areas were taken care of. Pool company, some concerns about algae, proper health notifications, and general lack of pool cleaning were discussed. Sharon and Colleen will discuss this with the company. Speed bumps on 7th Avenue. Several owners complained about the new speed bumps. After much discussion, it was determined it was too expensive to replace them, but it was still deemed they were necessary, so no action will be taken at this time. New business, attorney. Sharon Villers made a motion to hire attorney Jeremy Anderson as the attorney to represent the Pebble Springs condo community. Carol Bloodsworth seconded the motion. After some questions and discussion, the vote passed with one abstain by Director Nancy McFadden of Cluster 5. All other directors voted yes, and to make the hire effective immediately. Cluster 1 reports. Carol Bloodsworth reported some power washing had been done, also that lights hit by lightning had been repaired. Cluster 2, Kathy Jo reported several repairs had been done to the cluster. One of the units is also under foreclosure, and there have been some problems with the renting to tenants without formal approval from management. Cluster 3, Terry reported pool lights are still out and others need to be replaced. She reported on several miscellaneous repairs around the cluster. Cluster 4, Sharon has received bids to heat the pool in Cluster 4. She will need electrical work to be done before a pool heater can be installed. Cluster 5, Nancy reported lights need replacing on 7th Avenue side of buildings. Some steps need painting and the pool fence needs repairs. There is also a problem with swimmers in the pool late at night. Colleen was asked to send a letter. Cluster 5, Edna reported a problem with the lights in the pool area and the courtyard. Miscellaneous business. Terry Lanning asked if the official color of the unit front doors could be changed from green to white. It was noted that a vote of 75% of all owners would be needed to change the color. The meeting adjourned at 8 p.m. The next meeting will be August 15th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Edna Paul, Pebble Springs Secretary, Cluster 6 Director.
Do I have any corrections in the minutes? As read?
I have a question.
Sure.
All business, the bullet 4, is not registered at all in this.
Huh? On our agenda?
Yeah.
We're reading the minutes.
I know, but we discussed it. Please, 15 minutes, the bullet 4, review situation in my car, and it's not mentioned.
Oh, that, I see what you're saying, yes.
No decision made about it. This
I see what you're saying, that discussion about his vehicle was left out.
Edna, do you hear that?
Yes.
Also about the GoFundMe for general.
Yeah. Go ahead and, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and, you can do the revisions, right?
Yeah, I can do the revisions.
Colleen's gonna revise them now, I'm gonna write them and we'll read them.
So, let's just, table these minutes until we do the revisions, and we'll, approve them at the next meeting.
Okay.
Does that work?
I just need to
Yeah.
read somewhere.
No,
Of
that's
course.
good.
Yeah, no,
Thank
no, no.
you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
why
you
we
for bringing that
asked for corrections. We'll be tabling the minutes at this time until the corrections are made for the, and we'll read them at the next, corrections at the next
And
meeting.
new business discuss disposal of contractor waste during the project.
What was it?
New business, the first.
I don't have the old agenda, I'm sorry.
Discuss
Oh, this one.
disposal of contractor's waste during the project. We did that too, but not once.
Okay, I'm gonna go over the agenda, and then I'll just add whatever's missing. Okay, because I see I see what you're doing,
yeah,
and you
right
make
here.
sense, yeah. He's adding what we didn't talk about in what was on the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I'll get those taken care of.
If you need an agenda, let me know.
No, I haven't, so, okay. So we're gonna table that one for now.
The financial report's not in here. What we go up?
I'll do it.
The committee.
Yeah.
Colleen's gonna go over the financials next.
So I'm gonna go over the July 31st, 2019 financials.
All the directors will be getting this after we reviewed it today, and I didn't want to send it out until after we discussed.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that everything was appropriate before we sent it out. So I'm gonna read the, operating and reserve account balances for each cluster, including the master. So right now, the master has $17,817.09 in the operating account, and $79,001.77 in their reserve account. Cluster 1 has $20,875.24 in your operating, and $72,782.09 in your reserve. Gotta get through all the work here. Okay, so on cluster 2, there was an issue. The checks for the roof repairs were taken out of the operating account versus the reserve account. So it brought the operating account to be a negative when it should have been a positive. And where did my page go? I just had it. There we go. So right now it's reflecting that it's negative $36,428.14. That's incorrect, because they're going to put the money from the reserve account back into the operating, so that will leave cluster 2 with a balance of $6,180.66. Just for point of reference, it's always important when you're looking at the financials to look at the prepaid accounts, because some owners pay their fees in advance. But that money is even though it's paid in advance, it's not extra money. It's money that's allocated already out for the year. So right now, cluster 2 has $11,534.63 in prepaids. So if you think about it, really, they're negative money because they have prepaids. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of the projects, which was the irrigation repair, the gutters, and the tree trimming, and we're going to use reserve funds instead of operating funds, so that cluster 2 is back on track and has the cash in their operating account. So once all of that is done, they will have a new balance in their reserve account of around $40,256.25. When we get into the cluster reports, we're going to talk about them because they're the only cluster with a CD that renews in November 2019, and we're going to recommend that they cash that in instead of roll it over and put it in their reserves to keep their money available for when it's needed. But we'll get that in a minute. Trying to find my pages again. Hold on. I'm out of sorts. Okay. Cluster 3, you have $6,998.98 in your operating, and then in your reserve you have $46,354.15. Cluster 4, you have $51,072.33 in your operating, and $58,850.31 in your reserves. Cluster 5, you have $18,562.46 in your operating, and then in your reserves, you have $71,901.56. In cluster 6, you have $8,192.77 in your operating, $83,514.31 in your reserves. So that's everything up until now, how much every cluster has available to you in assets.
And with us getting ready to do the budgets, you've got to think ahead of the projects you're going to do. Some of the clusters haven't painted in years, and that's important. If you do have the money in reserves, plan for that. I mean, I did go over budget with my painting project, but that's because we found that we had a lot of wood rot when they got into the paint and started pressure washing. So that's really important to think about ahead now of the projects that you want to do this year and maybe the following year to budget for it.
What was your total cost of painting?
It was about $45,000. But a lot of that included waterproofing the upper walkways. We had to grind it down, and because we were having water leak issues, that cost us quite a bit of money a couple years ago. So far so good, and we've been in a pretty rainy season.
Courtney, if I may, I asked last time about auditing,
We cannot hear.
and maybe I didn't formulate the question right. I got the answer that we will have at end of this year auditing. So I'm just curious, how does it go? Does it include previous years or just the current year?
We approved to audit. So
Right. Yeah, you guys approved to audit, so what will happen is, because you didn't vote against it, so what will happen is, when this year ends, in 2020, the auditors will review all of your financial reporting for 2019. They won't go back in time any further, but they'll do 2019.
That doesn't make sense. I asked for certain reason because we had big holes in 17 and 18. There were a lot of accusation from several sides about some missing money, spent money and so on. And we just closed that book. We don't know what happened, why it happened and so on. When we spoke about audit, I thought that we were going to audit those years.
No, they only do 1 year back.
We don't need auditing for this year at all.
But if it wasn't voted in the year that you,
Then you have to. So what happened was, for 2018's financials, you guys had voted to waive.
and
So,
our financials were good that year, so
right,
nothing
so
was in
we
discretion.
voted to waive every year. And now, because we didn't have a real annual meeting and the whole thing that happened, we didn't get to vote to waive 2019, which is what you would be waiving.
What I'm saying is just waste of money for 2018.
We
because
legally
know-
have to though, now.
Yeah,
Well,
we know that we are in a big, I don't know how to call that, and why we need
Conundrum?
confirmation for that if we know that we are already there. I was more interested and I was looking at, and we talk about auditing, I was looking for previous risk management, missing money, spending money and so on.
Well, the
So-
missing money will show up in our financials, which
There really
we're not
isn't,
seeing any missing money.
it's allocated.
Spent money.
It was spent.
Yeah, and that was interesting to me, but I don't see a reason for 2019 because we know where we are, we know that we are.
But the thing is if you don't audit for so many years, we're due to audit this year. Even if we weren't gonna waive it, we are due to audit. So we legally have to audit per the state statutes, correct?
Yeah, and you
If
didn't
I'm
vote,
wrong.
you didn't vote to waive it, so
It
unfortunately.
doesn't hurt, it just costs money.
It does cost money, it costs about
But what I'm saying, you
$5,000.
know, I don't check my wallet every 3 years. And it doesn't
Right.
help me if I check my wallet this year and I didn't do that year before and year before. And where's money from year before?
You check with your director. Look at your monthly statement if you're interested.
And you can go back in all the financials as well to see.
And we have been going back, like today, we spent about 3 hours going
Yeah.
back in time, trying to figure out where this stuff occurred, how it started. Because I was looking for when we got the money from Spectrum, where it went. Did it go into operating? Did it go into reserve? Where did the extra money from the asphalt come from?
Yeah, that was around 25,000.
Yeah.
Well,
We
yeah.
got from the Spectrum.
From Spectrum, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I added it up because you paid
Like
the person
26,000 or something.
you got $200 a door. So you got $35,800, but you paid that guy $9,000 to negotiate the
Yeah, I know.
contract. So you got $26,800. But the
We went back to March of 2018 because we
Mhm.
wanted to see, because there was a huge drop, but the drop was because you had to pay the asphalt, so
asphalt
we saw
essentially went over.
$75,000, like around a $75,000 difference in our financials in that we had in the operating account. And,
That's what I'm saying.
it
That's
was
why
the
I'm asking.
asphalt.
Yeah.
But we already knew that, but we wanted to make sure, because we're getting ready to do budget, we wanted a clear picture of everything.
That was
Because
all
it
the
took-
time fishy, and I still don't have a clear picture, and I don't think anybody's gonna.
The
have a
clear picture is the asphalt, that's all we know, it was spent, that's as clear as we can get.
Every financial has with it a copy of all the checks, like it has a ledger that tells you everything
Show
that
them the
was.
AP sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking into it, I was looking in the last
So
one.
every
I didn't see all checks in there, that's also something that I might ask, but.
So, every time we get a financial, you get an AP sheet like this, and it tells you every check that has been cut for that 30-day period. So it can, I mean, if you went back through every AP, you could see exactly who was written a check. And then the board gets a copy of the bank statement. The owners don't because it has our checking account numbers on it. So, along with it, you can see, once it was cashed, you can see who signed the check. And you can see if it was co-signed or if it was just signed by one signer. And when the check was deposited, you can see all of that. So we do have records, and the bank is probably the best place to start because it also shows you voided checks. It shows you everything that you'd want to see. Like this one has a lot of voided checks, to be honest.
Yeah, but then I thought they went through, which I thought was strange.
Yeah, I don't know how that
I know.
So,
It's easy to.
it's easy, Joe, Teresa.
Yeah, I think that was easy checks. I was looking at those pages.
Yeah, so every
Well,
financial.
no, I didn't send July yet, that's July.
Yeah, we haven't
didn't
sent July
get sent
yet.
yet, 'cause we reviewed it today.
So every financial has that information in it, so you can see what was spent, because you can't spend money without the check going through a bank. I mean, it has to clear the bank, and it has to come out, and it has to be, I mean, the bank's, it's right there in the bank statements. If anything, that would be where I would say that you could see the best information.
When I do the review, I look at the AP check detail, because that's coming out that current month. And then the actual statement will show you what has actually cleared for that previous month usually. The only thing that we're gonna change different is the Cadence Bank that has the shared accounts. We don't get a report in on that. Well, we know what it's reported on the report, but we don't have the actual bank statement from it. And to have a clearer picture, I think you're gonna do a spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll have the bank statement as well.
Yep.
And that shows what our shared account, our reserves account is.
I'm going to break it down in a spreadsheet, so it'll help you guys, so you don't have to flip through all these pages all the time, to show you what is in your reserve BB&T and what money is in your shared account for Cadence. And then you'll be able to add the two up and be able to determine what is in your reserve, like actual fluid cash. Because nobody else has a CD except for Cluster 2. All the other CDs are cashed
And
in.
that's actually gonna be their saving grace because you have more repairs that are coming down the line that need to be done. Kathy
Yeah,
Joe did a
yeah,
really good job on,
I had a really
Getting
hard
it done.
time last year. I was director of Cluster 6, and when you go to first budget proposal, your colleague name is what?
Carrie.
Terry.
Mhm.
She came with some numbers, and I started to ask a question because it didn't make sense to me.
Right.
The age of roof, money, blah, blah, blah. So it turns out that cluster 6 should have an increase of $50 per month in assessment, and I didn't agree with that because I didn't saw any calculation, any math behind it, and I asked her how she got that numbers. There must be some formula or something how you calculate that.
Right.
She was not able to answer that question. I never got answered how it's calculated. And we finally, I said it was $17 per month for the owner of the condo. Cluster 2 went $50
Yes.
or more. But they are missing most money, more money than anybody else. I'm just, curious about the last 2 years. Why did we get that budget, which was out of blue, without any visible formula how we get that?
I can't
It
answer
was
for
like-
Carrie,
It was, I know.
but I can tell you how I do it, and then
It
it may
came
give
out
an
at the
answer.
very end that actually I had to negotiate how much I would like to.
And that's
what
usually
I don't
how,
understand.
but that's usually how it goes. So whenever I'm creating your budget, which I think I've created probably 6 of them by now, I think I've done 6 years worth of budgets for you guys. I take your financial as of July. It is my obligation, based upon what you've spent for the year, to create a budget that is an actual budget that reflects your expenditures. Because if I don't, then I'm not giving you accurate information. Now, if the cluster director doesn't like the outcome of that, you have the opportunity as a director and as the board to say, Colleen, I don't think that next year I'm going to spend this much. You can take off money here, you can change money here, we can reallocate this to here. Because it's the first draft, but by law, I'm obligated to give you clear, concise numbers based upon what's in the July financial and how much you've spent for 7 months and how much I predict you're going to spend the next year. Cluster 2, in all the years I've been here, has always had money problems. And it stems back, gosh, Edna, Carol, since the beginning, since the inception. Number 1, we had the same director for multiple years who would never agree to an increase. That was the number 1 issue. All the other clusters were increasing their fees to meet with the upkeep of the property, and the director at that time, who was the director for many, many years, just would never budge on an increase, would never allow it, would never give it. So it always kept that cluster underfunded, and so the repairs just kept building up and building up and building up. And then one year we had the whole wall right over there by right where Kathy Jo used to live, the staircase. The whole wall was full of water. So we had to do a special assessment because we didn't have any money to do it. So we had to do a special assessment to cluster 2, but that only paid for the repair. It didn't put any money back into the reserve. We drained the reserve and did a special assessment, so we didn't hit that cluster so hard. So in all actuality, cluster 2 is doing better than they had in the past, but that's only because we've had directors who've allowed us to do increases moderately over the last couple of years. So to say, I mean, since I've been the manager of Pebble Springs, we've always had, when I began, actually, I don't know if everybody remembers this, but my first year we were negative, $9,000 in our master operating account, something like that. We ran at that total for a while, and then what did we look at? It was like
99,000 March 2018.
in March 2018,
In our operating.
we had $99,000 in our operating account. Now we have 17.
We'll get
So,
back up.
you know what I'm saying? Money has been spent, but the asphalt project took a huge chunk, a huge amount of money. So it's just going to be a rebuilding process, and there probably may be increases this
But
year.
to be
What
clear,
makes me-
the reason the asphalt did is because we didn't follow the original
Correct.
contract,
Yeah.
where we were supposed to do it in phases.
Correct.
That's why it's
And
always
next thing you know, we
important
did the
to
whole
follow
building place and we weren't prepared.
authorization,
What
proper
makes me
authorization.
most frustrated, does anybody look at this asphalt now, go around?
Yeah, it looks horrible.
It is, there's nothing we can do about it. At this time, there's nothing we
I
can
mean,
do
we spend
about it.
money
We're
for
running
nothing.
on a shoestring.
We've called them and they're not willing to come back out and really help us. They're just like,
They're done with us.
yeah, they kind of walked away. We even asked them to put their speed bumps back.
Yeah, we
They-
have to pay almost $600 to put speed bumps back. which-
That are hard to even drive. I mean, those
Yeah.
are tough.
And that was
I'm not
part
gonna
of the
joke.
first contract,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not the second one that Ann wrote.
In fact, I just authorized my signature on that one today.
Yeah.
But, we've gotta move on. We can get more into the financials when we start doing the budget.
And we usually have like a little powwow about the budget.
Yeah.
And I always give every director an opportunity, you guys know this, to kick back your ideas before we get to a budget meeting. So I always give a rough draft, my first draft, and then every cluster director has a chance to review it and tell me what they want to change or how they want to modify it. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Committee reports. We have a big one today, so it's gonna be the beautification committee. Would you like to give a report, Ruby? She's our
Okay.
chair.
I don't stand up, so hopefully you don't mind that. We had a really good meeting, we had a nice turnout, and
No.
we have some things that are in progress. The green fence out here is already in progress being done. There's some other little projects and some landscaping, trimming and things that are in progress. We have bids that we're going to be getting to do the islands on clusters 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to do something with those. They need it desperately. Along 7th Avenue there?
Yes.
And, let's see, the signs need refreshing on both, and we're getting some estimates and getting some of that done. We're going to replace the hibiscus out here. They look kind of scraggly. They've been cut down several times and they
The way
still
out.
haven't.
On the way out.
So we may put even something else besides hibiscus. We're getting estimates to resurface tennis courts because that absolutely has to be done. And then we'll do the fence there too. And we're getting some estimates on the courthouse heating, heating pool. And also, to finish around, not the cement part, but around the sewer, if you will, around the pool, because that really is in bad shape. So,
Can I ask if when you look for your estimates on the tennis courts, can you seriously look into pickleball? I mean, there's just so.
We discussed that, and as you know, they have to stay as tennis courts, but we decided that to add one net turns it into a pickleball. So I don't think there's any reason we can't do that.
But isn't the whole thing with the pickleball, one, it's the striping, and two, it's the
Mhm.
net. So can you not make the net where it is, retractable, where it goes up or it goes down or whatever? Therefore, it's lowered for the height accordingly for tennis versus pickleball?
I'm gonna check on that, because,
I mean, other than that,
they need a different kind of net. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I don't.
This is something we have here.
Okay, I mean, it
We'd like
just,
to make one into a
right, okay.
Or like
I'm just saying, it just seems after all these years.
It has to be sold.
Right.
It
No.
has to stay as tennis.
There is a way that you can do 2 different colored lines. I did this at another association. So you make your tennis court lines white, and then you make your pickleball court like blue.
Yeah,
And
right,
then
exactly.
they're different lines, but you play within the lines. And yes, we did have another net though,
Uh-huh.
and it was just like a mobile net.
So
So
that's why I was just wondering if there's
You
a
can.
retractable net or something that can go up or down, because all it is the height, right?
yeah, if you can.
Okay.
But technically, I don't play pickleball, so I don't really know how it goes. But I know at GT Bray they did the same thing. The tennis courts are also pickleball courts. They're
Right,
shared.
correct,
So you just do different colored lines on it.
Correct.
That's the only thing I know. Now the net is another thing that a tennis court company could probably tell you exactly how to do it.
Okay.
But I know that you can do the lines.
I'm just making
And
a
they work with
suggestion,
any-
because after all these years, I
And it
mean,
works.
You can see a handful of people that play tennis versus people that would want to play pickleball. Yeah.
Well, some years we've had a lot of
Okay, so
people
tennis
playing.
court, go back.
Tons of those. Also, the fence around the pool needs to be refurbished or replaced or whatever we decide, but we need to get the tennis court service first. And then in progress, the fence by the maintenance shed is maybe done already, I'm not sure. So,
Work in progress.
work in progress, it's all a work in progress. And we had some other things we did discuss that will come forward later. Remember, if you have questions or problems in your clusters, you need to go to your director, because we only have, the master comment, okay? Okay.
Thank you, Ruby. Any other committee reports?
Social club or whatever you wanna call it. I think we're thinking about something for Labor Day weekend, but, we haven't anything in place yet, but we'll make sure it's posted on the bulletin boards.
Okay, thank you. Cluster reports, cluster one?
One thing I can say is we had some roofing problems, which are for the flat roofs, and that's in progress. We had, of course, all of our sidewalks, power washed, which was a surprise to me, so that was we brought that to everybody's attention about it, because I didn't know it was gonna happen, and I didn't know why the guy was out, but thank God it looks beautiful. And, the other thing is, we had some of our people, went to the area that's in the, master, what do you wanna call it, the cow pasture area, that faces cluster one, and they took upon themselves to buy new plants, and they refurbished that, which I thought was pretty neat. And they
Carol, we can't hear you back.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I forgot. And I used to be a cheerleader, so. Some of the people in our cluster decided, because they have to look at that area, it faces cluster one, so they took upon themselves to go out and plant bushes there, and it looks quite lovely. And, what we're planning there, which will be on the beautification committee, because that is master area, is to redo the pebbles that are there. And also, I can't remember what else we said about there, but other than that, it looks so much better, and we thanked all those people for their time and energy. I am planning to have a company come and check out our gutters. Some of the nails are sticking out. Some of the aluminum went over T111, I think originally, there was no aluminum, right, Ruby?
Right, right.
And then they put the aluminum over top. Some of the T111 underneath the aluminum is rotten, so that's going to be investigated to make sure we're squared away. We had some plumbing problems over in 6230, I believe, and that was internal plumbing, so that was covered by the cluster. Other than that, we're all happy. We love our pool. We don't have any trouble with our pool. No algae, no problems. Our pool is perfect.
Good for you. Cluster two, we're gonna get to the movement of the CD.
Also, I mean, just as an update, all of the projects that Kathy Jo started, she finished before she left.
She did.
Just so that everybody knows, she did a lot of projects. She got the roofs replaced, she did a lot of pressure washing, she got the irrigation fixed, she did a lot of stuff. So everything that she did was completed prior to her leaving, so we greatly appreciate all the effort she put into doing all that work for cluster two.
For sure.
Yeah.
She turned over a whole book, all the foreclosure information I
It's
have,
really detailed.
the contact information with the bank there, so we're following up on that. So this time, I'd like to make a motion to move the CD that Cluster 2 has in Hancock Bank, that comes up for renewal on November 28th, 2019. We have to give them 60-day notice, and that amount is $19,067.49. We'd like it to move it from the CD to the reserves of Cluster 2. I'd like to make that motion.
So
I have a second? Carol? Aye, all in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Edna. Motion passed. Cluster 3 report.
Still have an issue with the blue light, but I did have Miller's come out today, I believe it was, and they did replace the solar cell for the courtyard lights. And he did explain to me that there was power to the pool light, so it's gotta be from one section to the light itself, which he tore all of that apart, so I just need to get the pool dude, Ronnie, and this other gentleman together to where he can run the wire through and Ronnie can block it off. We don't have to drain the pool.
Did you give Miller, did Ed come out and talk to you?
No, it was
The
actually
tax-
Scott from
You could
Miller.
give him Ronnie's number.
I offered to do that and he told me that I had to go through the office. in order to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, I can get
So,
with Ed or his wife.
I can get a hold of them because I just basically need both of them together at one time
Yeah.
where Ronnie can come out, block off the pool light to where they can do the wiring from one to the other.
Maybe
The
schedule
only
it like
other
on
option
state,
is Pool of Americas. I can go out there and get an estimate from them as well because I know that they have somebody that can do it all in one without having to waste two people's time. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
just-
probably get quotes from both of them.
That's a good idea.
And I have a phone call in to, the landscaping again, so we got a meeting on Monday. Only because there's other issues that are going around, so. And other than that, unit 6142, the HEX unit is still a work in process. The rain threw off the contractor's schedule, so to speak. They were supposed to be here like 2 weeks ago to start, and I still haven't heard from them. But I did have the quote, I approved the quote. It's not that expensive for them to replace that beam up there, so.
Okay, is that Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of time for them to work it back in their schedule again.
Okay.
Because I told them, I said, she's not even here, so it's like, you know, when they're able to get it in their schedule, because he's basically taking care of emergencies right now, so.
Exactly.
And the power washing, I have contacted 2 people on the power washing, still haven't heard anything. as
For the
far as
buildings?
quotes.
Okay.
Yeah. We did that, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, the siding definitely,
Oh,
right?
it's terrible.
The picture
All
you
the way
sent,
around.
yeah.
Cluster 5 does too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, life is good.
I don't have anything new to report for cluster 4. In cluster 5, Nancy's away. Does anybody have anything in cluster 5?
I want to ask for one of the neighbors, 5902. She asked me about the step right outside our front door there. It still has that carpeting, and it's gotten really moldy and nasty, and she wanted to know, can she have it pulled up or replaced or taken off or whatever? So I told her that I would bring it up. I didn't know if Peter could do it, if he can pull it off of there or what.
Is it concrete? Is it concrete stuff?
It's just the old, it's the concrete, yeah, but it has indoor-outdoor carpeting on it, and it's just nasty.
It's gonna,
I had to do my own because I was told I had to do my
you
own.
do.
Well, that's why I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know if Peter could take it off or if she has to do it herself or what.
Well, it's not just taking it off, you've gotta take the glue down.
Yep.
So like in
Put glue
cluster
on.
4, I pay the contractor to do it.
My brother and I did mine.
So that's something that when Nancy gets back, maybe go ahead and, you're gonna make note of it. We're gonna make note of it and then
Okay.
can discuss it with Nancy when she gets back.
Okay.
Anything else?
Can
Mary?
you tell me anything about the staircases?
On that,
Yeah.
invoice that I gave, or the estimate I gave you, all he wrote in there was that it has not been quoted yet.
But what's down here is all that's going to
The
be-
top one is on the east side,
And this one down here is on the west side, correct?
The bottom is only for the carpet.
Okay, the staircase and stuff hasn't been,
They hadn't coated it, to my knowledge, by reading
Okay.
that.
okay, that's all I need.
No problem.
I did want to say I was very glad with the people that did the sidewalk power washing. They really did a very nice job.
Especially by mine, it was really glad.
Thank you.
I'm sure we were the last ones to get done, but it was really, they did great what they
Okay,
did.
well, that's good. Your buildings still need to be done, but
Yes.
that'll come.
He was excellent.
Cluster 6. Edna?
Yes, I really don't have anything different to report unless Nick has something that he wants to add.
Well, you just approved the carports being repaired,
Yes, that's right, the posts that have been damaged.
so that just has been approved.
Good, that's good.
No, thank you. I'll go ahead and give them a call tomorrow and let them know it's authorized for it to be repaired.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you, Edna. Nick, do you have anything?
No.
For the master, I do want to say also that Peter's been really taking it upon himself to really step up to the plate, and he's actually saved us quite a bit of money. Several of the pool gate hinges were damaged, all except for, I think, cluster 1 doesn't have an issue. So you have to have self-closing to be safe, in order to be safety. So he went ahead and went around, discovered all the ones that were bad. He went down to the fence company and purchased them on his credit card, and he's working on replacing all the ones going down the line. He started at 5 because that's where the big safety issue was, and then he's just moving down the line. So eventually they'll all be replaced. When you had the hydraulic leak with Waste Management or Waste Pro last week, he got right up in contact with Manatee County, and he's in contact with somebody down there to follow up to make sure that it's taken care of properly. Today I met with him and let him in the clubhouse, and he looked at the plans for the drains, and he's going to get a hold of Manatee County and check to make sure that the main drain on the street on 59th is clean, which all our drains run into it, that theirs is clean before we investigate ours. Because even if we have ours cleaned out, if that has issues, we're still going to have issues. He will be getting to the other side as well, but right now we're having the biggest issue with the water on the east side. I think that's it for master. Cluster reports. At this time, we do have an open position for cluster 2 director. If anybody in cluster 2, I know there's only one person represented here today, Susan.
Two.
Oh, sorry about that. If either one of you would like to be director or know of anybody that would like to be director, Kathy Jo, I didn't bring it with me. It's a book this big. She has everything totally organized in it, and you could know exactly what has happened in your cluster since she did the repairs. It was very well organized. So if you'd like to think about that, because right now, we have a director at large, Nick, which nothing's really come up, so he hasn't had to take over, but that's you actually don't have a director, you have a director at large. So just let us know, call Colleen or myself and let us know if you'd like to be a director. Landscaping.
It's behind because of weather.
Yeah, he's behind. I don't know any rhyme or reason when he's coming right now. 2 weeks ago, Easy Joe had a equipment breakdown, and we lost a whole week. But then he made it up, and now he's behind with weather. The weeds are growing faster than he can keep up with them. So we're going to have to get through the rainy season and see if the director has an issue. Call him up, take it up with him, walk the cluster. Carrie's going to walk again, right? So I probably will be too.
I like to walk it from the front.
was there on Tuesday, I think it was.
Yeah, he just cut the
And he
grass.
cut the grass. Well, I know, but then it started raining.
He's
and
hitting and
everything, but
missing
he
because
did-
of the rain,
Yeah,
but
I mean, they were at least out there doing the best they could.
But I talked to him the week before and asked when our shrubs were gonna be done, because our shrubs haven't been done all summer. And he said tomorrow.
And I think
That was 2
cluster
weeks ago.
2, the exterior is being cut, but the interior isn't. Is that correct, Susan?
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
He didn't cut our grass for 3 weeks in the back.
I know that one section he couldn't because it was too wet. So some areas, if you're seeing high grass, it's because it will make ruts. if you
Yeah, I know
cut.
he did that to Carol, but he didn't do that in our back. He just did the weed eater around, and then he didn't come back and do any part of the grass in the back that time. I know what he did in
Do you
Carol.
want to meet with him? You're welcome to, unless Nick wants to, for 2. Susan, you know the cluster better.
Yeah, I can meet with him.
Okay, I'll go ahead and, if you don't have his number, I'll give you his number tonight after the meeting,
Okay.
okay? And as you as well, give him his number.
Does he know that, I mean, we're talking?
He's gonna know.
Okay.
He wants to pick his truck up tonight. But he had it really improved, but now the rain has got him. And being with a smaller company, that's gonna happen. So, all I can say, right?
Yes.
Want to do the update on the insurance renewal?
Yes, I was looking for. Right now, we're not close enough. They can't go out, it has to be 30 days prior to expiration, about 30 to 60 days prior. So they're gonna start going out to getting our bids to find out what our insurance will be for 2020. And hopefully we'll have that for our budget, so that we have an accurate number as to what we're looking for, if there's gonna be increases or not.
Yeah.
So, the insurance agent just emailed us and updated us. They can't there's like a window in which they're allowed to shop, so.
They're
just gonna
actually,
open up.
the word out there is that there's probably gonna be increases.
Yeah, D&O insurance
Or
is going
it's
up.
not
They're all
Yeah.
Is that the DNO only or?
There's a lot, liability,
fiduciary or-
yeah, all of them are probably gonna go up this year. Yeah,
Yeah, but
insurance
what
going
kind
up.
of insurance we are having?
You have liability insurance, you have D&O, you have, that covers fiduciary. You have a workers' comp policy, you have, I think, what else do you have? You don't have flood.
And all of this is with the same company?
Yep,
But they put out for bids every year.
yep. They put up
I mean, I
bids.
work for DNO company, that's why I'm just asking,
Yeah,
how does it work?
yeah, they're usually with the same company. Sometimes they're with different places. Sometimes you'll have an umbrella policy, which is additional D&O, which will be with a different company. So you have your director's and officer's insurance, plus you have an umbrella, which is additional coverage. But they'll be with 2 different companies. It's kind of like a gap policy, you know, if one didn't pay. So, we'll get that information soon from them.
Thank you. New business. We've discussed this many times, the board has, but we've never really seen it in writing, about the limit regarding spending per cluster without prior board approval. Sometimes it said 2,000, sometimes it says we have to have 2,500, but we haven't found where it actually was said how much each director could spend without approval. Now, emergency situations where you're having a railing falls up and you gotta get a contractor right then, or your stairs, and a safety issue, then you don't need approval.
That wasn't from way back when, Ruby? I mean,
It was voted 2,000.
Yes.
2,000 was the limit.
I
Because
remember Ray being on it.
We raised it.
2,000 was the limit?
Yes, we raised it from 500 because
Right.
there were so many things.
Yeah, you can't do anything with
You can't
$500.
really do
Right.
anything.
I thought it was 25, Ruby, no?
No,
Was
it
it
was,
2?
it was 2.
Okay,
So
I
what-
remember him being with you, and I thought it was up to 25.
That is what he was
Okay.
at one time.
Yeah.
I think I've been told 3,000 before too, though.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean, we've been
Everybody
told.
makes up their own.
I know.
Do you remember where it was in the minutes?
Probably a minute somewhere.
Um,
How long ago was that?
Well, Ray was on the board from 2005 to 2009.
So somewhere between there.
So we could always,
Somewhere
Just
between
re-adopt it.
we could always readapt it.
Yeah, I know that we discussed it and voted on it while I was secretary, and it's been put in some of my notes, but I couldn't tell you when.
Well, do we want to stay with 2,000, or do you want to increase it, or how do you want to do it?
How do the directors feel?
Yeah, you guys.
2,000. I always stuck with that.
Terry?
I think that's a good number to deal with. If it's more than that, then
First thing
I
I
like
learned
to
in this
get,
association
make
is
sure
2000.
somebody else knows what we're doing.
I didn't never find any written trace of it, but it was 2000.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, would someone like to make a
Motion
motion
for
to readapt the cluster spending limit for, without prior board approval to $2,000? Terry make a motion, do I have a second? Carol, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So now we know what we can spend without approval.
Is that just emergency? Excuse me for interrupting.
No, that's non-emergency.
That's non-emergency.
Non-emergency is, so they can spend up to $2,000 without any authorization.
Yeah,
And I needed some money aside.
If I need a,
and hopefully they look at their financials first.
Right.
We've already discussed the 2020 budget process. At this time, I'll open up to the floor. Is there any questions, concerns? Jim?
Yeah, back to the budget and our reserves, and I may have missed it when you were talking. The number 35,000 was the shortfall of what I remember hearing on the reserves.
Okay.
Whatever it
For the
really is,
master or cluster?
I guess the master reserve. But and I heard you say, Colleen, about special assessments. You think we're gonna assess, or what to get to replenish?
My thoughts on that are, we're kind of waiting for the insurance to come in too, to see what our insurance is gonna be. We do have our insurance as a
Reserve line item.
reserve line item, and some of the we talked about this today.
Yeah. So basically, when I became the manager many years, like 6, 7 years ago, we didn't have the money to pay our insurance down payment. And we didn't want to ever have that happen again. So what we did was we created a line item that was $14,000 for the insurance. So that every year we had our down payment for the insurance policy, so we would never ever not have that money. So right now, you haven't taken that money from the reserve when you paid your insurance last year. So now you have $38,136 in that account. Technically this year, that money should be applied towards your down payment of your insurance and go towards the actual funding of the insurance. So that will take $38,000 out of your bank, out of your master. So if you take that out, you're down to having, give me 1 second. $40,000, around $41,000 in your master reserves. So, do I think that you're going to have a special assessment? I can't say. Do I think that you're not going to be able to spend any money from the reserves? Yes. I don't think you'll be able to spend any money from the reserves for a very long time. They're they're small. That's the biggest line item you have. Tennis courts, you only have about 4,000. Clubhouse roofs, you have 4,000. The pool, you have around 9. Paving, you have $10,000 left. Clubhouse painting, you have another 86. And then clubhouse building and fence, you have 57. So, insurance is your biggest line item. You have $38,000 sitting there. It has to go to insurance. It can't go to anything else. So, do I think it's going to be a special assessment? No. But do I think that your fees might go up? Maybe, possibly, definitely. And
Because we have to put the 14
because I got to put the money back in.
So divide that up, I think we're looking at like $17.
Yeah.
Didn't we have that happen one other time, so a long time ago, years ago, I remember something about the master being in trouble or whatever, and we all got assessed like $300 or something like
That
that.
was before me, but yeah, it
And
did
we had
happen.
to put it back in because the master was in the red or something
That was
like that.
about
and
5 years ago, I
It's
think.
against the
Yeah.
law, it had to be in the black, and we all had to,
Oh, yeah, that's when we were $9,000 behind, yeah.
we all had to do the assessment, where we all had to pay, because I remember
Remember that now.
Yeah.
some people paid it all in one, some people paid
We
it like
gave 3
$100 a
payments,
month.
yeah,
Right, we had to do it in installments.
yeah, because you
If-
didn't keep it running in the red.
Okay, if we had to, I mean, I'm just looking at, I don't want to be assessed.
Right.
However, I don't want my monthly maintenance to constantly be going up either, because you don't get that back. So it's almost like, you know, should we look at one versus the other? If I have to pay out 300 at one hit versus my maintenance going up, you know, 25 bucks a month times 12 months, is that gonna be more than, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, we'll do the math, and we'll try to figure it out. The other thing is we have to think about, are we fully funding? We have to make sure that our reserve is 10% of our entire budget. If we're not funding it appropriately according to Florida statutes. So we have to pay attention to that too. So we have to make sure that the numbers are right. You have to make sure that you're following, because if we're not funding at 10%, you won't get any loans in here. You won't be able to sell your properties. Nobody will fund anybody in this place. Nobody will give a refinance, nothing. She'll tell you.
Yeah.
I can fill out a condo questionnaire all day long, the bank's gonna reject it every time. So, we actually ran into that issue, I wanna say last year, where we were almost not at 10%, but because all of your money, even though you can't you can't use other clusters' money, but it all sits in the same bank, when they do like a condo questionnaire or something, they look at you guys as a whole, luckily, not individually. So, because all your money's in one bank account. So that's the only thing, but you have to make sure that you're at 10%. So if our operating budget's high, our reserve's gonna have to go up, because we have to meet that 10%. 90% of it can be operating, but 10% has to be reserved. So it's
are
gonna
we
be.
at that?
No. I don't think so. No. I mean, I'll have to play with the numbers, but we'll get there. I mean, we will, but if we take the money out for the insurance, we won't be there anymore. We won't be at 10%. So
Legally, we have to take it.
and legally we have to, because that's what it was put there for. And we're not cross-utilizing this year. We're not commingling any funds. We're not sharing. We're not pooling our reserves anymore. Remember? Everything's line item across the board. You have to spend exactly from that line item, which is going to keep us on track.
I
For a
just
little
want you
bit.
to seriously consider.
Yeah, we will.